desk, we discussed the role that rail freight plays in the South African economy. That's amid continued failures at Transnet. Now, the state-owned entity, which is still recovering from a recent wage strike, has again declared a force majeure just this week on its export coal line that connects to Richards Bay. This follows a train derailment on that line, which comes amid claims of violence, extortion and vandalism. Transnet's woes recently took center stage at a dialogue hosted by the African Rail Industry Association. The association CEO, Mesela Nhlapo, speaks to us now about the outcomes of that discussion. Thank you so much for your time, Mesela. I think maybe let's start with unpacking the current status of Transnet, its failures, and how it's impacting the industry.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers. The recent strike has again shown how vulnerable South African freight rail industry and the detrimental impact such strike has on a fragile South African economy. A consecutive estimate put the cost of the 2 weeks strike at 1 billion rands a day, and yet nothing changed. The strike should have scared everyone in the country. Transnet's imminent collapse will destroy the country's economy. Transnet's refusal to implement transparent and proper reform is difficult to comprehend, and given the financial and operational position.
Mesela, these reforms were highlighted in the medium-term budget policy statement, and President Cyril Ramaphosa has also recently highlighted on what needs to take place for a turnaround at Transnet, but none of these are being implemented. What exactly is the impediment?
Well, the policy is there. The policy that was approved by the lawmakers of this country. It should be implemented. But for some strange reason, it seems like Transnet is on a different tangent. Whereas as a country, we should be looking forward that the lawmakers, of which are parliamentarians, it's a disrespect for their time in crafting a policy and approving it. Now, the policy is the first policy that we have had in over 86 years. We talk about government not performing. Now, Yale Department of Transport, headed by Minister Mbalula, delivering on a policy, but yet a state-owned institution refuses to implement the economic reconstruction and recovery plan as stated by the president. And this reform, it's not new. On the 15th of October in 2020, the president in his address, he said that they will be allowing third-party access onto the rail network. It has since not happened. I don't know, it is the undermining the presidency, the president himself and the president's office, and undermining the Department of Transport, because Transnet should be the policy takers, not the policy dictators.
And let's call it what it is. What is taking place at Transnet did not start yesterday, and there's a lot to be said about what is needed for that particular turnaround where implementation is still not taking place. The likes of Ford in South Africa have resorted to now tracking the vehicles between Durban and Pretoria. Transnet is not answering there, and the revitalization and innovation that needs to take place is setting South Africa back. More billions are going to be lost. And really, what is the warning when it comes to Transnet facing the same fate that we are currently seeing unfolding at Eskom?
I call Transnet Eskom 2.0. And the facts are 66% of Transnet operating costs is salary bill. And we know that Tito Mboweni, at the time when he was the minister, he did highlight this, that the civil servant first is too costly for government. And the Minerals Council estimated daily losses of about 15 million during the strike. The SAFSA as well complained about the same thing. But what we found and that should be an alarm is that Transnet has asked its customers to pay 30 days early and requested them to postpone payment to suppliers so that the company cash position will look better at its half-term year results, which closed at the end of October, meaning that monies that were due to Transnet in October now will be shown at under the 6-month yearly half-term reporting.
That's quite suspicious, Mesela, and I'm interested in finding out what industry role players are planning to do about this, because what you are describing is a situation of Transnet looking good on paper as opposed to actually physically and tangibly being in good health.
It would not be the first time. The 2021-2022 financial statement, they declared a 5 billion profit, of which when you look and interrogate the financial statement, you see that the 5 billion that they have declared is actually the evaluation of their properties.
So concerning, we'll have to leave it there.
With the properties, if you were to remove the evaluation, actually Transnet should have declared 6 billion loss.
And a shortfall. This is a conversation that is definitely not going to end anytime soon, particularly because the challenges at Transnet continue to mount. That is Mesela Nhlapo speaking to us as the CEO of the Africa Rail Freight Industry Association, talking about